Greetings one and all. I'm Dr. John Griffiths from CAMH and the University of Toronto, and in this and the next few videos I'm going to talk to you about the Neurotech Challenge series, or what we're calling NTCS. Alright, so let's start with an overview. NTCS is a new initiative. It's coming from a big group of us from Neurotech X, also from OpenBCI and from CAMH, Centre for Addiction and Mental Health. And in its broadest terms, NTCS is a platform to enable and encourage people like us and like you to do interesting and fun and meaningful things with neurotechnology, and specifically with low-cost mobile wearable EEG. Now, I'll get into the specifics in a minute, but just lingering on the big picture for a little bit longer, what are the objectives of NTCS? What is it about? So really four things. One, science. Okay, well, we want to advance the science of wearable neurotechnology, and in particular here we're interested in doing cognitive neuroscience with mobile EEG, and also cognitive neuroscience outside of the traditional lab environment. More on that in a second. Number two, education. So we want to provide resources and instruction on how to do cognitive neuroscience and other cool things with mobile EEG. Number three, community. So our aim is for NTCS to be, hopefully we're hoping can become a focal point, one focal point for bringing together people in the neurotech community, which, as a lot of you guys will know, is a very broad and inclusive church. We've got users, enthusiasts, novices, experts, scientists, engineers, communicators, entrepreneurs, all you good people. And then finally, number four, innovation. Okay, so we want to facilitate and promote innovation in this sector, and ultimately, for me at least, innovation I think really flows from those first three, flows from science, education and community. So that's the big picture, all right, high level mission statement, if you like. Now, how exactly are we going to go about this? So the inaugural offering of the Neurotech Challenge series is what we're calling NTCS Phase 1. And NTCS Phase 1 is an international citizen science study where we're giving good people like you the opportunity to contribute to scientific research and join us on this journey by making recordings of your own brain in the comfort of your own home or wherever else you choose to do it, and contribute the results and the data back to us, which will then aggregate and analyze into a large anonymized and open access EEG dataset and database that will be easily usable and accessible for anyone who wants to use it. Okay, what we're specifically interested in studying here is person-to-person variability in neural responses to visual images. The neural responses we're talking about we measure them with EEG, and they're what are usually called event-related potentials, or ERPs, or also evoked responses. Same thing. So essentially, things like how much does your brain response to, say, a picture of a face differ from my brain response to a picture of a face, and so on. Those are the high-level scientific questions that we're interested in here. But what's also particularly interesting, and I think super cool about NTCS Phase 1, is how we're doing it. Okay, so what's very different and unique about this is actually three things. So number one, we're using, as I've indicated, we're using this new generation of mobile, wearable, consumer-grade EEG systems, which have all kinds of neat innovations, like hardware and software innovations. They're lightweight, wireless, dry electrodes, conductive fabric, conductive rubber, all those really cool things, and really importantly, they're typically very affordable as well. So that's different. Second thing is, as I mentioned earlier as well, we want to do this outside of the lab, right? Like a lot of traditional cognitive neuroscience happens in labs, EEG labs like this actually. But we, and I think, to be honest, the entire scientific community, we want to also take this area of science outside of the lab into the real world, so to speak. So this is one strike in that direction. And the final thing that's different and unique about NTCS Phase 1 specifically, and this is the main one actually, is that we have a decentralized data collection approach. Now, let me elaborate on this. The decentralized here basically means you, the participant, will be doing the recordings largely on your own. Like we'll assist in terms of the information and documentation, videos like this, but we won't be physically present. And the obvious benefit of doing things this way is that it's dramatically more scalable than if we were trying to do this in person, say like drive around in a car to each of your houses with an EEG system and, you know, run these experiments with you in the next room. Or even have you into the lab and do them in the lab, right? There's a limit on how much you can do when you do things that way. But when we're doing it in this decentralized way, then in principle at least, we can really scale up, right? We can aim for high sample sizes and think about things like real population level variability, and aim for things like, you know, big data. Okay, so thousands of subjects, even tens of thousands of subjects. We hope that we can persuade many of you to join us and really make this a big initiative, and that this will be an interesting and a fun and a meaningful thing for you to do. Okay, so that's it for the overview video. We've got some more instructional videos that will, you know, guide you through the various steps, but just to kind of summarize the process for you now, if you want to jump in and participate in NTCS Phase 1. First thing, you're going to need to register. Okay, so there's a website which you probably have already seen the link to, but it'll be in the info associated with this video. So go to the website. There you'll give some details. You also need to do a consent form. Just so it's clear, this is all a fully institutionally fully approved institutional ethics board approved research study. So we do the consent form. All scientific research needs to have a proper informed consent procedure. So we'll go through that. Once you've gone through that stage, then you'll get an email explaining the next steps, and that'll be the main information source for you. And the main step that you'll need to follow is to install a software library that we're the developers of called EEG Notebooks. Okay. Once you have that installed, you're nearly there. You will need a mobile EEG system, and you don't need to own it. Like there are actually quite a lot of these floating around, so often you'll find there's a community in your area or your institution or your kind of friend's friend who has an OpenBCI or a Muse and so on. So, you know, we kind of hope that people who are really motivated but don't have one of the devices that we're supporting for the study can get hold of one, and kind of optimistic that that should be okay. They're also relatively cheap to buy. So you'll need your mobile EEG system. So you've got EEG notebooks installed, slap your EEG on your head, and then you'll run the visual face processing experiment that we have prepared. And then finally, you'll go back to the website that you started at, upload your data, and then sit tight and wait for future communications with us, future announcements. And eventually soon, we'll certainly be communicating with you guys along the way as to the stage of things and how it's progressing and what the time frame is, but we certainly intend to have the data in an openly accessible form as soon as possible. And we'll be putting out scientific papers and doing all the usual science stuff as well. All right, so hope that was an interesting and, you know, it was a relatively brief overview video. Enjoy the rest of the videos, check out the documentation as well, and have a good time.